Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So if you're new here, thank you for joining me. If you're a returning subscriber, you're welcome as always. So as we all know, Faye had a press conference today and she talked about a few issues. She did first talk about her joining Ninestar Entertainment and them having a good relationship from her joining. It was very professional, they were good. And then she joined Ninestar first, and then Yoko joined later on. And they said again, her and Yoko always had problems, but they could always talk through the problems and let it not affect their work. And we also saw Yoko say this when she wished, I think, Faye a happy birthday. Is it last year? I think last year when she did put out that tweet and even said, I'm happy that even when we have issues, we can be able to talk about it. I always have your back and you always have my back. Something along those lines. And then after that, she talked about the relationship with her and Yoko, and she's specifies as first that they are finongs. They were like older sister and younger sister. Now we did hear Yoko's last press conference whereby she kind of insinuated that she wanted it to be more, or they were in the direction of it being more, but I think it was more on her side. She spoke about more on her side, and then things didn't turn out like the way that she thought or she wanted them to turn out. Now, she also says that her feelings for Yoko were genuine because she's an adorable person, or she was an adorable person and an important person to her. And there was never a day that she felt like they couldn't have a discussion and understand one another. And then one day when it was about to get to Valentine's, they were planning somewhere to go with their dogs, and or yeah, a restaurant, and Yoko was in charge of choosing the restaurant. Now, a few days before Valentine's, she asked Yoko if she had settled on a restaurant, and Yoko didn't reply to her messages to date. Now, there must have been something that happened from the 9th to the 14th or to date that Faye has no idea of, and Yoko is the only person who has that information and has decided to not give Yoko that information, which means give Faye that information, which means that Faye still has no closure with this kind of relationship, whether it's siblingship or it was something turning into a relationship. That, because again, I don't think you can get so upset at your workmate until something that you're supposed to go to a restaurant together. It's weird. And that's the problem I also have with the BL&GL industry. They blur the lines so hard. Sometimes I feel like they're only confusing us, but allegedly they're also confusing themselves in those CPs, because as much as they're fun servicing us, it seems like they're also fun servicing one another, to the end of someone starts catching feelings when the other person has no idea and just feels like they are an actor, they can act, and it's all just acting. So that's it. And they continued with their rehearsals, they continued to go on with their lives. They also had there was also a fan meet that was coming, and they did the fan meet easy peasy. Now, she also talks about 4 elements and says that she was never informed that she will be a cast of Four Elements, like fans speculated, and then she herself, like later on, like got a phone call of someone asking if they weren't joining like Four Elements project. Am I getting that wrong? Yeah, one of the seniors called and asked, why aren't you joining the Four Elements project? Now, before, Nawat had said that who? That Faye called him to ask him, aren't you is it true that the company is not allowing us to join like the Four Elements project? Now, I don't know if the senior that called her is separate from Nawat. I'm guessing it's a separate person from Nawat. So after that person called her, I don't know if it's the same person that she called today, took or talk, and then she called Nawat, and then called her company, or called her company first and then called Nawat. Like she didn't give like an overview of what actually happened, because before we know she called Nawat. Now it was a senior that called her, and then she did speak about the Nawat part. Now, she did say that she told the other person on the line that she really wanted to join the project. She doesn't know why. And like the company did tell, like when she called Took or Talk, that person did say that the company said that they were afraid that this project might not be seen through, that Faye and Yoko had differences, and if like Four Elements were to put them in a project together, it might be a liability in the future that the company was not willing to pay, which is absolutely true, because at the end of the day, Ninestar Entertainment is a business. And it is now clear that things were being done emotionally. So they were not sure. They had seen, because again, they spent like 99% of every single day with these two people. So if there are problems between them, they see the problems earlier on before even the fans do. And if they felt like the way things were going, like this matter would jeopardize like the work. And think of this as Faye and Yoko have worked together less than 2 years, and they had already had like so many issues. And remember, look, at the end of the day, it's a job, yeah? And if you are so popular and you're getting all these deals, money is flowing in, fans are loving you, so what's the problem? Because everyone is holding their hand, everyone is holding their bag, everyone is holding their weight. So, like, there is no issue. You can't blame one person and saying our ship is a total failure because of you, because everything was going on well. So that means that the only issues that was there were personal issues. You get? Now, they say that she says that I am like, it's okay. She was told it was okay if there was ever another opportunity, like they will work together and so on and so forth with the senior. Now, I've already talked about the phone call with Took. She does say that she also talks about what? She also talks about breaking the pair. And she says that one day in their fan meeting in Thailand, the company arranged for her and Yoko to talk to someone, a professional, a therapist. And what she was asked, can you imagine yourself working separately if the pair were to split? And then she says, as an actress, my job is to act. If I need to play a rock, I'll be a rock. I can do it. Now, let's just be honest. You come out here. That's what I'm saying. The problem is that as much as we feel like these actors fan service us and confuse us, it's like some of them, especially Yoko, she's young. And that's the problem I have with also GL partnerships or BL partnerships, pairing these people with young people who still haven't matured. When they're well within like their years, they have matured. I don't like it because it seems like it also confuses them. You see? When you say that you are an actor, if I'm asked to play a rock, I can play a rock. And you're talking to someone here. You are next to you are next to Yoko. You have already had your issues prior to that. She hasn't talked to you. She hasn't replied your message since February 9th. You haven't contacted her to ask what is wrong and tried to figure out that situation. And then now you have been called to see a therapist, and then you're saying, at the end of the day, I'm an actor, my job is acting, and if I'm asked to play a rock, I will play a rock. Like, I feel like the rock part was not warranted. She could have just said, as at the end of the day, I am an actor, and like, as long as I'm told to act, I will act. And right now, considering like GL pairing, me and Yoko are a force of nature, and I feel like us working together will actually take us further in our career. But if it gets to a moment whereby like this ship doesn't service us, and like of or we have found like better opportunities, then it will be okay for us to go our separate ways. Like, it's that easy. So I don't understand why she doesn't see if the rock part had an issue, considering like the prior situation. And then, and the age of, and this is not me excusing Yoko, I'm just saying at that moment. Now, she also said that people misunderstood. And then, yeah, when they were asked to see a therapist again for the second time, she refused because she thought it wasn't okay for her mental health. Now, I don't know. Maybe some people feel shittier going to a therapist rather than better. I don't know, because I think the reason that you are at the therapist office in the first place is because both of you are not communicating. Now, after you had communicated that way, Yoko was supposed to ask Faye why she felt like she would say something like, if I was asked to play a rock, I will play a rock. And Faye was supposed to like be like, okay, then why did you stop talking to me from the 9th? And the only discussions we had was when we were in front of fans. She didn't say that. And this now makes me believe maybe they were the GL couple that people were talking about, that they couldn't stand one another. This whole time, I thought it was friend Becky. It's now starting to look like it was Fayeyoko. They could only be smiley in front of fans, but behind like our backs, they couldn't stand one another. Now, she does say that people misunderstood her, thinking that when she missed the therapist thing, people misunderstood her, like she wanted to split the pair or abandon Yoko, but that was never her intention. Like, they had one project together and they had received an award, so why was the split blamed on me? And then she says that Didn't the company know about this? Why did they impact solely fall on me? That's something I really want to ask. 90, to be honest, 98% of the tweets that I have seen people blaming the split on with months of boycott is Ninestar Entertainment. 98. Faye, if people are blaming you for the split, it's just a little bit sect of the fans. But 98%, if we are going to talk about people who were to blame for the Faye-Yoko split in order, Ninestar Entertainment, Yoko, and then Faye. And that's why your career has been on the upwards, and Yoko's has been on the downwards, because she decided to start by Ninestar Entertainment, which means she was to blame by proxy. So yeah, no, pass. And then she says that about contract termination. Now, regarding why I left the company, this is a big question. The company gave her a new contract. She felt that the new contract was shittier than the old contract. So Ninestar Entertainment was like, you know what? Then let's just stick to the old contract. And then she was like, no. Yeah, the contract had light. No, the contract had darkness, but I still signed it. And then now this new contract was darker than the last contract. So I was like, no, I'm not going to sign it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe GL contracts or entertainment contracts have like, okay, maybe you'll do 2 projects in 2025, 2 projects in 2026, 3 projects in 2027. I don't know, maybe, or the names of the project. I don't know. I've never seen an entertainment contract. So this might be it. Maybe they have like, you'll have like 5 influencer brands in a year or 10. Like, I don't know. So she says that the contract was in total darkness. She couldn't see where she's going, so she didn't have motivation. She didn't know. She wasn't motivated to work, so she didn't know the future. So she decided not to sign the contract. Again, she has told us that she hasn't spoken to Yoko since 9th of February. So that means that she didn't ask Yoko what was wrong, why Yoko wasn't replying to her text on the 9th of February, because all she did was try to follow up if she had just gotten a restaurant. When she felt like she wasn't answering, she decided to give her space. So after that, they went to a therapist. They went to one session. She says she's an actor, and if she's asked to play with the rock, she will play with the rock, and then she will create intimacy with the rock. And then she does say that if they go to a therapist. They go to a therapist. She says that she's an actor. All she can do is act. And then they are asked to go for a second session, which she refused because she felt like it emotionally drained her, which again, a therapy session is supposed to do that, emotionally drain you so that it can dig up things that you felt were buried and were not necessarily buried, and you're supposed to talk through them so that you can work them out and like be a better person, or like feel good about yourself, or feel good about the part that you are in life. If it's not uncomfortable, it means it's not working. So she refused to go. And then now comes her being given a new contract she refused to sign. Doesn't that make you question that this girl might think that you are abandoning her? Considering her age, again, she's young. It's not you that is supposed to baby her through all her feelings. But if you considered her as a sister, loved her, was an important person in your life, and you felt like how she was acting was strange. Why can this dog shut up nowadays? I don't understand, for the heavens. Now, that, so you also didn't talk about it with her, saying that, oh, I'm going to not sign this contract. So it was like a shock to her. Still, you felt like it wasn't a problem. Why were you the one being blamed for breaking up the ship? And then she does say that the only path or way forward was to walk my own path. And again, she does say that even on the day that she ended the contract, she still had feelings. She still had good feelings because once, Yoko said that if one day you do well, I'll be happy for you. Now, being in the BL industry and the GL industry for how many years? I know specifically well. I've seen a lot of people say that if one day you decide to leave me, I'll be happy for you. But I never see them send congratulatory messages to the people that they left behind when they're doing so well. And some people just say that thing because we are humans. And if we are doing so well together, why would you have to leave me behind? If we are doing so bad, and you decided to leave me, and then you like prosper, then I will understand and say, okay. And this is the problem. That's why I have a problem with fixed pairings. Stop the fixed pairings because of these same situations we are having now. Stop it. Stop casting people who have a huge age gap together because their thinking is different, especially Faye being a seasoned entertainer and Yoko being new to the entertainment industry and felt like she was safe and Faye was going to hold her hand through everything because she was older than her. She had been in the entertainment for circles for so long. She knew her way around the entertainment industry. She found her in Ninestar Entertainment. Now, she does say that she's hoping that she's grateful for her fans and everyone that stick by her. And from now on, if she receives any message that defames her, or damages her reputation and affects her work, she will take legal action to the full extent. I'm guessing she's trying to throw a jab to both the fans and Ninestar Entertainment and Yoko, so that if they decide to do their own press conference and decides to speak about the situation, they should be able to tread lightly because they don't want to say something that will actually like end them in the hot fire or something. So yeah, that is basically everything that happened. Now, my opinion is that, again, I think I've spoken about my opinion, everything. I feel like this whole thing is shit. I feel like this whole thing is stupid. I feel like all this thing was done emotionally. Faye was emotional and disappointed that Yoko didn't reply her text messages and she didn't know what the reason was. Yoko was upset that Faye didn't take the time to find out what was wrong with her and why she like bailed on the whole situation if there was an issue, when she decided that they wanted to work on it and see a therapist. And when they were taken to see a therapist, she basically talked shit. Again, I'm saying according to the situation that was there at hand, that had played at hand. She probably felt like Faye treated her like she wasn't important. Like she was just another, I don't want to say scat, but she was just another talent that could be replaced. And she is not as important as she had numerously said, maybe privately and also in front of fans. And then after that, even when them having a second session, she couldn't be bothered to come. And that just cemented that Faye didn't care enough for Yoko. And then after the 4 elements issue, because Faye in her mind thought that 4 elements was going to be the biggest show ever, and this would like bring a huge amount of fans to her, and her missing this opportunity would be like the worst thing possible. So she was already upset about that, and she couldn't understand like the reason as to why, which the reason was already there because the person who called her already told her, like, did you fight with Yoko so badly that you can't repair? So she already knew what the problem was. That the company was scared. They couldn't invest in you too because they felt like you are wishy-washy and you would bail out on them and they will be left holding the bag. So they didn't know they will be asked to pay back how much in commission. So the first thing that you could have done, attended those therapy sessions again, talked to Yoko in front of Ninestar Entertainment. You and Yoko make sure and like talked to Ninestar Entertainment and assure them that you are going to talk through whatever is happening, you're going to walk through whatever is happening and do your work. Now, coincidentally, all those things happening together, the renewal of the contract also happens at the same time. And she decides, ding dong, the contract is not good. It is worse than the first one. Which again, Ninestar Entertainment, how dumb of you to make a contract worse than the first one, because before they were not a huge gel pairing. So how on earth did you think that you making a shittier contract when they already have this whole fame was better? Unless they had a clause there in that contract that said, if the two of you bail and decide not to work on any project together, when you are called and paid on to work a certain project and one of you bails out, maybe there was a clause like that, you'll be asked to pay a certain amount. And that's why that contract was shittier. I don't know. And then she decides not to sign the contract and leave Yoko behind. So yeah, that is basically that. Again, these are my opinions. My opinions are not fact. My opinions are not to sway anyone to think the way I'm thinking. This is how I've decoded the whole issue. Some people have different decoding, which is okay. Because at the end of the day, when the information is put out, you are allowed to decode it the way you want to. So if you've gotten to the end of this video, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Turn on the post notification. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Share this video. And let me know in the comment section what you think about today's topic of discussion. Bye.